Just a little disclaimer. In our discussion tonight, we're going to be talking about rape. We do not mean in any way to glorify rape, and we do not mean to offend anyone. Stay horrific.
Night of the Horrorfile. You're all invited.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Hey, welcome to Night of the Horrorfile.
Hello.
I'm Lee, and that over there is Brittany.
Hi.
Hi. What did we watch this week?
I spit on your grave.
Ooh, 1978's I Spit on Your Grave, and a little unlike last time's movie, Teeth, we're not as funny this time.
This one's a little bit more serious.
Yeah, we go a little bit more serious. So, this is the 1978 exploitation film I Spit on Your Grave by Mark Zarkai. Mir Zarkai. I think I'm saying that right. I'm probably saying that wrong. Who fuck cares? Moving on. So, this is the film that in 1980 Roger Ebert, the critic, said, "It is a movie so sick, reprehensible, and contemptible." Holy shit, I can't read. Attending it was one of the most depressing experiences of my life. That's what Ebert said.
Wow, that's a little harsh.
Yeah, he hated this film. Go ahead.
I have to remember that this was 1978. You have to remember that. So, in this time, this film was like that.
Oh, definitely. So it was probably a big shock when it came out in 1978. But on the other side of the coin, you have my hero, Joe Bob.
Joe Bob.
And he wrote in 2002 his little snippet from his review, which is a great review. You should go look it up on UPI. But it's about the strongest take back the night statement ever made. She doesn't just take back the night. She takes back the night, the morning, the afternoon, and steals the clock while she's at it.
Yes.
For the longest time, I've defended this movie and for so long, but it's nice to see that Joe Bob defends it as well. First impressions, what'd you think?
I liked it. It was, I don't even know the word that I'm looking for. Revolutionary.
Right.
For its time.
I think it's, yeah. I thought it was a little ahead of its time, honestly.
I would think so, yeah.
But the shit show people make it out to be, I really don't think so.
The things that you were telling me, I was a little scared of what I was going to be watching, and I just didn't know what to think. And when I watched it, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, it's not as, I guess, vulgar as I portrayed it to be.
Oh, right. It's definitely not as bad as everybody makes it sound, but I believe on Twitter this was called a relationship ruiner for some reason. Fucking weird reason. I don't know.
Only if you like rape.
Right?
Or you want to rape.
If this ruins your relationship, I really need to question what you were doing while the movie was going on.
But also, does that make our relationship weird?
I think hers was always kind of weird.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, going back to the movie, it's not super well made, but I think that kind of contributes to its creepiness.
The sound was bad.
Right.
So if you watch it where you can listen to it very carefully.
Headphones
would
might
be perfect.
Yeah, headphones
yes.
would actually be perfect. So starting off, we have our antagonist. What is that? Who's the hero? Is that the antagonist? Holy shit.
That's the protagonist.
Protagonist. Okay, I'm retarded, everybody. Sorry.
I don't know why you had to go into that.
I don't know.
We're not reading.
So we start out, we're introduced to Jennifer Hills, who is our hero of the movie.
Oh, I gotta say, she's
go ahead.
gorgeous.
Oh, right. Yeah, she's 1978, beautiful.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Thin,
right?
great hair, great lips, big eyes. She's beautiful.
You know what I like about it though is that she's like a normal hot. They don't over sexualize her.
Oh, right. Very minimal makeup. I mean, she looked normal, but she was hot.
Right. But so we start out with her, and she is a short story writer who is driving out from her home in New York City to an isolated cottage by a lake countryside in upstate New York to write her first novel.
So she drives from New York City, like in the city where she lives, to about 3 or 4 hours away, and you see her. She stops at a gas station and gets out, and the guy pumps the gas for her. And she just starts pacing back and forth, just waiting for the gas to be pumped.
Right, and this, I mean, if you haven't seen this film, we're not really ruining anything for you. This is the first of our rapists, the gas station attendant, and we're introduced to him. He's kind of normal here,
but the other guys are there too.
Right, and they're playing some kind of knife game over in the vacant lot, and everything's going okay. Everything's kind of normal.
She was asking where Park Hill Lake was,
right,
and he was like, "It's about half a mile away."
Right, and that's where that cabin is.
Yes. Can we talk about gas being 63 cents? Because I need those prices.
Oh my God, 1978 gas prices.
It costs $5.20 to fill up her tank. In some states, it costs $5.20 a gallon. Let's go back to that.
Oh, I know, right? That would be amazing. But yeah, 1978 gas prices. That's probably the biggest first shock of the film.
My favorite shock.
Your favorite?
Yes.
So she's getting her tank filled up by Mr. Gas Station Attendant. Did we ever get his name?
I meant to write down their names, but I didn't. But no, they never say... Yes, they do say his name, but not till like the end of the movie.
Oh, right. Yeah, because we don't catch his name until like the credits, I think. And
yeah,
his name is Johnny.
Johnny. Why is every scary guy's name named Johnny?
Because Johnny's scary.
Ooh.
What other scary guy named Johnny are you thinking of?
I have no idea. The Shining. Here's Johnny. But I've never seen that movie, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, you haven't seen The Shining yet, have you?
But I've heard that saying a million times.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you know. So she gets the attention of Johnny, our gas station attendant. And I don't know, does she get the attention of the others yet?
She was just watching them play their knife game.
Right. So anyway, she gets her tank filled up. And I could make a sex joke there, but it just feels weird.
Then she drives down to the cabin and gets out of her car and walks around and see that there's a lake. Well, obviously, she knew there was going to be a lake, but anyway.
Right.
This is the first scene you see her get naked.
Yeah. And like I said, they don't sexualize it either. She's getting undressed to go for a swim. But again, just no sexualization in this movie.
No, none at all.
I think Zarkai really did good on that because for the scenes we have coming up later, you don't need this to be weird.
Right.
He delivers it pretty straight. There's no hidden messages or anything like that. But so she gets naked to take a dip, and what's next?
Then it cuts to a scene of her in her bedroom. Right. She's putting her clothes away, And I don't understand this. There was a gun in the dresser drawer. Now, was the gun there before, or did she bring the gun with her?
I think it was there before. I
Because
think
she
we're
looked a
supposed
little
to think,
shocked by it.
yeah,
so,
I think we're supposed to think that whoever owned this cabin before left a gun, which
Right.
is weird.
that is kind of weird.
I guess that's another 1978 thing.
Maybe.
But-
So,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
then we meet Matthew.
Right.
He brings her groceries.
Yeah, because this town that she's in has a local delivery service for their groceries, and Matthew is the mentally challenged fella. I don't think he's supposed to be like mentally challenged or anything. I think he's just supposed to be slow.
I think he's just a little slow.
Yeah, he's just a little slow and kind of doofy. But Matthew ends up taking her groceries out to her cabin, and that's when we get in. Is that where he learns that she's a writer?
He learns that she's from New York.
Right.
And he tells her that New York is evil. And she's from an evil place.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then she gives him a tip from an evil person from New
She's
York.
like, here's a tip from an angry New Yorker.
So Matthew kind of glimpses her cleavage through her shirt. And he kind of has a crush on her at first.
Well, obviously, she's a
Yeah,
beautiful woman.
yeah.
He's coming in. And then he was asking her if she was alone. And she was like, me and Mary. And he looks at her funny and he was like, Mary, is she in the other room? And she's like, no, she's in my brain. And I was like, what? Is this lady crazy?
Yeah, that's her character from her book.
And she said she's going to write her book.
Right,
That's who
right,
she's
right.
writing her book about.
And the next scene we get is that that's where Matthew has gone back to town and is now telling his friends about the girl he's seen.
He said, I saw her tits.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because at first I thought when I first saw this movie, I thought Matthew was kind of, he may have been a good guy, just a slow dude. And then it shows him conversing with these guys, and it's like, shit.
I think he was trying to make friends with them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he says later on he doesn't have many friends and stuff, so.
Right. So Matthew suggests that they go see a movie.
Right.
And they're like, you're so boring,
Oh,
blah,
my
blah, blah,
God.
blah, blah, and giving him all kinds of shit.
Right. And at first you kind of feel sorry for Matthew, like maybe these dudes take advantage of him or something, but
Right.
that gets cleared up later on. Fuck. Like, I'm dreading describing these scenes coming up. To tell you the truth, I think I'm going to let you take the reins with that.
Which is fine because I don't have a problem with it.
Right, right. Well, I just feel like it's kind of insensitive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I'm a guy. I don't know. I feel really weird.
Okay. I
So,
understand.
anyway, he tells them that he saw her tits and stuff like that. Or I can't even do his voice. Hi,
Again.
fellas. I don't know. He's got a really weird voice he's putting on. I don't know what he's going for.
I don't know either. But, so they go fishing, and they're just talking shit about Matt most of the time.
Right.
I'm calling him Matt. They
Matt?
call him Matthew. Whatever.
Yeah. And who cares? It's either Matt or Matthew, whatever you want to listen to.
You know his name. Anyway, and he is taking a shit in the woods as they're fishing.
It took me. Okay, I saw this when I was really young, which I shouldn't have been watching it, but I saw it when I was really young, and I did not fucking understand what he was doing.
Why he was just sitting in the bushes over there.
Yeah, because I missed, because they say something about it, but I missed it. And I was like, is he jerking off behind the bushes?
Because
Like,
he was
what is
pushing really hard.
Yeah, because I was like, what is he doing back there?
He's like, you're making me lose my concentration.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So they're talking about this girl's tits and basically how Matthew is a scaredy cat and stuff. And I wrote, how old are these guys? Because at the beginning, they don't say anything. You know, the guy works at the gas station. You know, Matthew works at the grocery store. But in my mind, I thought they were teenagers until I realized later that they're not. They're actually in their 20s.
Yeah, the guys portraying them are kind of...
But they look older than that.
And they do not look like they belong in upstate New York.
Where do they look like they belong?
Jersey, man. Especially Johnny, the main guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he straight up looks like he belongs in Jersey. But, I mean, that's just me. I don't know. So then they're talking about fixing Matthew up with that broad, and they say broad like a million times. Broad is thrown around pretty hard in this movie.
I think it's because it's 1978.
Well, plus, for the stuff to happen later in the film, you really need to not like these guys, but it doesn't mean... I think what the director was going for, I think he was going for dislikable, but not straight up villainous. Because, like... If you had these guys, like, twirling their fucking mustaches or something, or, like, loading guns and sharpening things and being all creepy and gross, it takes away from the realistic part of it, because the director, Mir Zarkai, as inspiration for this movie, he was, I forgot where they said he was, but he said that he had witnessed firsthand the aftermath of a gang rape. Because, he ended up helping a girl who was badly beaten and stuff. And that's what kind of influenced him to make this. Because even now, people like to turn a blind eye to these kind of crimes. So we have a system that kind of ignores the victim. And nobody wants to sympathize with the victim. So...
And it's fucking stupid.
Right. And I think what makes people uncomfortable about this film is the fact that it does make you feel. It makes you feel gross.
Yeah.
So to have them be straight up villainous, I think would have been a mistake. Like, these guys are grody, but they're not fucking... They're somebody you would see normally.
Right.
Like, they're normal guys.
They're just hanging out, fishing, talking about boobs and broads, and Matthew says basically he's saving himself for a special broad, and I don't see any conversation with any group of men going any different way.
Right.
I mean, who doesn't want to talk about boobs and sex?
Right. And so that's, I mean, it might be a little weird, but it's pretty normal, I mean, for guys.
Right. So that's what they're doing. Just shooting the shit. And then it cuts to a scene of Jenny is rowing her boat and then writing her book a little bit by the lake, and the guys go in a boat and they just start circling around and just being really fucking annoying.
Yeah, and it's kind of playful at first because you're like, oh fuck, these dickheads.
This
guys
is
something
just being annoying.
Yeah, this is something that like guys might actually do. Just be complete fucking morons to get a pretty girl's attention is I think what we're led to kind of watch during this scene.
Oh yeah. So then it shoots to that night and she's laying in bed.
Right.
And she starts hearing noises. And she goes outside to check and doesn't see anything, but it almost sounds like cat calls. Yeah,
I mean, it's no mystery that it's definitely them doing it.
It's definitely them.
Right.
But she doesn't know that. I don't think.
Right, so I mean, you hear the cat calls out in the freaking forest and stuff like that, so it's obvious that it's them doing it.
Right.
So
then you cut to the next day, and she's laying in her boat in the middle of the water, and the guys come back and start circling her again, and they just keep circling her, and they're on a motorboat. We gotta remember that.
Right, and it's still kind of playful at first, and then one of them, that's when he throws the hook on the boat.
Yes.
And they start taking her to shore. and boom, shit's about to get real.
Yeah,
So
it was,
before
like, real quick.
before that shit happens, we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be back. I hope this podcast doesn't ruin your relationships.
Hey, Lee, what you doing?
Just sitting down trying to write something funny for our insert in the middle of this episode before we hit people with rape.
Oh.
It's not coming along very well. There's not a lot of funny things I can get into here without being weird and offensive. There was that old lady joke where we are talking to an older lady, but then it ended up with you insinuating that she was gang raped.
Sorry.
And then, yeah, we can't bring Judd back from the Pet Cemetery episode because I feel like that's too much Judd.
Too much.
Too much, yeah.
We gotta leave him in the past.
Yeah, so I'm like fresh out of ideas here for this. Okay, so what if we put an insert in from the point of view of the guy's dick who gets chopped off?
Ooh, good
Yeah,
idea.
it kind of follows him like a Vival Goes West with a cock thing. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like somewhere out there. You know, you could be the pee hole singing.
Oh.
That'd be great. That could be a whole episode.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I have a lot of things to say about cut off penises.
Wait, why?
And their sadness.
I'm gonna go to the store.
Oh, bye.
And we're back. All right, where'd we leave off?
They hooked her boat.
Right.
And they're starting to not drive. I keep wanting to say drive.
Well, they're driving, I guess.
Driving the boat
Right.
off. And she's trying to get to the front of her boat and hit them with
Right.
her oar.
Right.
But
She's trying to fight them off with the war.
Right. And they get to shore. They wrestle with her a little bit, push her down, and take her top off.
Right. And that's Johnny that kind of throws her to the ground and takes her top off. And he calls the other guys over to help hold her down.
After they ran through the woods a little bit.
Right, right. Because they chase her into, it's kind of an overgrown little field area, like off the shore. And so they have her on the ground, and that's when they call Matthew over, trying to get her to, or him to rape her.
And he's like, I can't do it like this.
Right, right. Which, kind of being half-assed sympathetic, I suppose. I don't know. Matthew's kind of a confusing character because he has a crush on her, but at the same time, he doesn't want to not be cool.
Right.
And maybe his mental handicap kind of keeps him from calling judgment. But at the same time, you don't feel sympathetic for him.
No, not at all.
No. So he says he
could
can't.
Stop this.
Right, right. He could stop it at any time. So he says he can't.
So Johnny said, well, come over here and hold her leg instead.
Right. So Matthew goes over, holds her leg down, and Johnny begins to rape Jennifer.
Yes. And it doesn't last very long.
No, no.
I don't know how long I wanted it to last.
I was going to say, how long do you want the rape scene to last? I'm going to be awkward through these rape scenes because I don't know. It's just, this is pretty horrifying to me. I mean, I know a lot of people say that this movie doesn't classify as a horror movie and that the rape scenes are fucking appalling, but I feel like it's not your standard horror movie, no, but it's still terrifying.
Right.
Like, just the rape scenes alone.
Her reality is horrifying.
Because Camille Keaton sells the hell out of this movie with her acting. She's amazing. She was actually in Lords of Salem. She played a small little cameo role in that, which is a Rob Zombie movie we'll probably cover one month. But so Johnny rapes her, and luckily that's a little short, but we got more coming because she gets up and kind of gets away
because they let her go.
Right.
And she starts to crawl away, and they're telling Matt, like, go get her, go get her.
Right.
This is your chance.
Right. They're egging him on.
He kind of helps her walk away a little bit and then runs off. And so she starts running one way and they go somewhere else.
Right.
And she's walking through the woods and the water, and she's walking for a long time, it looks like.
Right. It's just one part of this extended rape scene that gives you a little bit of relief. This is like the first part where she's walking through the water and stuff, and you think, okay, she's kind of getting away and stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking she's going to make it home.
Right. And that's when you hear the harmonica.
And all of a sudden, she's surrounded by all the guys.
Right. She gets surrounded by them again. I think they drag... Oh, that's right. This is the part where they take her over to the rock.
Yes. And
God
she's...
damn.
Yeah. She's like naked, laying on this rock with her like stomach on the rock.
Right. Could you just imagine myself or somebody just bare chested on a fucking rock and just,
Ooh.
especially what's about to happen. And it's terrible. So the guy goes over, gets behind her, takes off his overalls, and
starts anal raping her.
right. And actually, to get this past the MPAA, Mir Zarkai had to take out any mention of anal rape or anal sex, because I'm sure they were saying something fucked up in the movie about
probably,
what he's doing.
Yeah.
But he had to take that out just to get it into theaters. So the act itself is there, but the mention of what's actually happened isn't.
And he just goes fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah.
He's like moving his head all around and going side to side with his body. And
Yeah. This is the part, it kind of takes you out of the moment, but at the same time, whether, I don't, it's hard to explain, but it's almost more terrifying that way.
because he enjoys it too much.
Right. Because his over the top thrusting and acting and stuff while she's screaming her head off. It's fucked up. Like I said, Camille Keaton, she sells it. But the way he's acting, it's almost kind of more horrible because it kind of pulls a giggle out of you. Like it's almost humorous in a way.
But also nervous.
Right. Because whether it's a nervous laugh or you're actually laughing because it's funny, it's pulling reactions out of you. So you giggle, then all of a sudden you realize what's happening and you're like, oh, fuck. Ew.
Right. Because he's enjoying it way too much.
Right.
Having the time of his life.
Ugh.
So they leave and she rolls off of this rock and gets up and walks away, all bloody. They speed off in the boat. And she's walking for a long time, but she finds a way back home.
Right. So
As soon as she sees the cabin, she falls down. Like she just cannot walk anymore.
Right.
And starts crawling.
Right. And again, she crawls inside the cabin. And at some point, did she put a shirt on? Because there's a shirt.
I don't know, because it cuts from her crawling outside to crawling inside, and then she has a shirt on.
Right.
So they did some kind of
something got
jump.
cut.
Yeah.
I always heard rumor that there was an uncut version or like a longer version somewhere, but I don't know how much I believe of that. I think we're seeing what we're meant to see.
And I don't know that I'd want to watch an uncut version.
You don't need it anymore.
No.
Like, we're good. So we think we're done with the bad stuff because she's crawling. She makes it to the phone, picks it up, and I'm assuming she dials 911 or the police.
Or she's trying to.
Yeah, something. And again, you get a little relief. You're kind of relieved. Like, okay, so the worst is over. Like, we're done with and then the phone gets smacked out of her hand. And all that relief comes crashing down because you're back in it. Because
they're all there again.
they're all there.
They're walking around, looking at stuff in her cabin, find some alcohol, start passing the bottle around. And she starts to wrestle with,
Right.
was it Johnny or the other guy?
It's
No name.
one of the, I don't know, not Johnny or Matthew number one. I don't, names are not given in this movie very well.
So they start to wrestle, and she's putting up a little bit of a fight.
Man. Yeah,
and he starts
Yeah.
full on punching her.
Right, and they couldn't afford stunt doubles in this movie, so everybody's doing their own stunts, and God, the punching really looked real.
It did. He was rearing all the way back and putting full force into it.
How awkward do you think the making of this movie was?
Well, probably pretty fucking awkward.
Yeah, well, because, okay, so during the rape scenes, especially the last rape, one of the crew members, he had to quit. He couldn't stomach the violence anymore, and it just got to him. It was fucked up. So he quit. And then their makeup artist, she ended up quitting because she was actually gang raped before.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So she ended up quitting because just the scenes alone were making her relive her experience. And wow, I mean, shit.
That's scary as shit.
Yeah. So
Wouldn't they, tell her before she went to work on that?
you would think, but
Maybe they have things in place for that
sure they
now.
I'm sure they said something. I mean, shit. Maybe not. I don't know.
It was 1978.
Just a makeup artist. They may not have
Right.
thought much.
So they all start drinking and encouraging Matt to take his chance with her.
Right. And, oh, God. Sorry. Just that gets me. So he ends up giving in because he takes a big old swig of, I think they were drinking whiskey. I'm not sure.
I think so.
He takes a big old swig and decides he's going to rape her. It's going to be his turn. And dear God, the close-up of his face while he's on top of her is...
That was pretty scary.
God damn, that terrified the shit out of me. Because watching this... Because we watch these together most every time. Sometimes we watch these twice, but most of the time I watch them 2 or 3 times before we do this. But so the first time I was watching this alone, and being alone and watching this was fucked up. I was just, it was rough because I had only seen it one other time before this, and that was when I was way too fucking young to be watching this, like I said earlier.
That's scary.
Yeah. So Matthew, as he's raping her, the close up of his face is scaring the fuck out of me. And he gets to a point where he can't finish.
And she's also passed out.
Yeah, she's about giving up at this point. Because
I think so.
She's had the fucking hell beat out of her. She's bloody, she's dirty, she's just giving up. Matthew starts saying, I can't come. And
he gets up and gets dressed.
Yeah, he gets up and gets dressed. And, they're all kind of making fun of him. But then, not Johnny or Matthew number 2, that's when he goes over to her. And she's
begging him. She's like, I'm hurt.
Right.
And she's basically begging him to stop.
Right, because she's kind of almost given up at this point.
I think so.
So.
But who wouldn't?
Oh, and then he takes the liquor bottle. Does he jam that inside of her?
I think so.
Okay, because that was...
It was like one swift move, but they both moved at the same time.
Yeah, and she starts screaming again.
Yeah.
God
and
damn.
He takes his pants off and whips his dick out and tries to stick it in her mouth.
Oh, right. Because that's where he's telling her to suck it, bitch, and stuff like that. And so by this time, the other guys, they're ready to go because they've been at it too long. And, you've been at it too long.
Yeah.
The rape scene in this movie is actually the longest in film history.
I did not know that.
Right. So, and that's enough.
Did you
that's
say
enough.
it was like 26 minutes or
It's
something?
24 minutes long.
Wow.
So
It's about 20 minutes too long.
right. And Ebert, like I mentioned earlier, he hated this film. He's quoted as saying it was like 40 minutes long, and a lot of people do that. And I think maybe that's because it does feel long and drawn out. And whether you think this movie is an abomination or not, it makes you feel gross. It makes you feel disgusting.
It almost makes you feel like you're going through it.
Yeah, like perhaps you're being raped. Like,
Right.
And I think that's where this movie succeeds on a level. Like most people, some people hate on this movie, and I think it's for the wrong reasons. Because with a title like I Spit on Your Grave and the movie poster itself, it almost looks like a silly grindhouse flick.
And for some reason, I kind of thought it was going to be like that.
Right. And it's not. I don't think it was meant to be a grindhouse flick. I mean, sure, it played in grindhouses, so you probably had male audience members hooting and hollering because if you'd never been, I've never, obviously, because they were before my time, but in a grindhouse theater, it's mostly movies that are exploitation movies and high violence and just disturbing stuff. And every time someone hoots and hollers and laughs and stuff, it's usually up to the point of the high action, which it's more out of nervousness and nobody's sympathizing with the rapists. So
Right.
I think...
Just like when I watch it and I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
kind of like that.
It's the same kind of thing. Only you got a bunch of dudes at the grindhouse theater trying to look like dudes to each other. When in reality, these people are probably freaked the fuck out by this movie. Because this movie, unlike other grindhouse flicks and exploitation movies, it has a certain seriousness about it. It's not. This movie is never silly. It's not intentionally that way. I mean, there might be unintentional scenes that kind of make you laugh because it's 1978.
Right.
But it's super serious.
It's very serious.
Right. So, so they're done with the rape and they're getting the hell out of there. And that's when Johnny wants Matthew to finish her off.
And he's a little reluctant.
Right. He's not, he kind of says, oh, we got what we wanted. Why we got to kill her and stuff like that. And they explain to him, because we can't, she'll go tell and stuff like that. And they don't want her to get out and tell about what they've done. And
Of course not.
They want Johnny, fuck. Everybody has such normal names. I'm getting confused. So Johnny kind of coaxes Matthew into going back in and stabbing her. He hands
And
him
kind
the
of shows
knife.
her, or shows him,
Right.
like, where to stab.
Right. So he sends Matthew inside.
He goes in, and he just doesn't have the heart to do it.
Right.
They've already hurt her, beat her. He doesn't want to kill her.
Right.
So he just rubs the knife in her blood and then goes back outside.
Right. And so after he does that, he hands it back to Johnny and he kind of pats him on the back and stuff, and they get in the boat and they're off.
And it cuts to Jenny getting in the shower and washing all the blood and dirt off. And it's pretty sad.
Right. It's, again, Camille Keaton really does sell it.
Oh, yeah.
God, she really should have got an award for this fucking movie. I think at a Spanish or Italian film festival, I think she actually did receive a Best Actress award.
Oh, that's good.
But this movie just does not receive the proper attention it needs.
There's not a lot of dialogue and stuff.
Right.
I understand. But
yeah.
So it kind of goes through her process. She's crying. She's upset. A few days later, she goes for a walk and she's starting to heal.
Right.
Her face is starting to heal.
Right. And
she does have a scar.
Yeah, the scar. The scar on the left side of her face in these scenes is actually real. Camille Keaton got that in when she was younger in a car accident.
Oh, really?
And yeah. And at the beginning of the movie, they kind of cover it with makeup and stuff, almost make it invisible. And then later on in the film, they exaggerate it with makeup to make it look worse than it actually is. And it looks good. But I think you mentioned, why does she have stitch marks when
it did look kind of like she had
so you can tell.
marks.
So I think that's what you're seeing is that
maybe she did when she had that car accident.
I think that's maybe what you're seeing, and they just didn't anticipate anybody would watch this on a high def TV. I mean, so moving on, she's sitting on the bank at one point after this because she kind of pulls herself back and she sees the boat, her canoe that she was out in when they attacked her. And she's kind of looking at the rope that's still attached that they hooked. And you can kind of see the wheels turning. This is when she starts, without saying anything, she goes from traumatized to, she almost reclaims herself.
Powerful.
Yeah, she goes back. It's like she snaps a little out of it. And I think I mentioned this earlier, but Camille Keaton's portrayal, Jennifer, in this movie, she's powerful to begin with. Like, I feel like going into it, she's a powerful woman. Like, I don't feel like she's weak individual. Like,
no.
In some movies where rape is the thing, and they use rape as a plot point, it's almost like the woman's weak until she is raped. And after the rape, then she becomes powerful.
Right.
And I think it's kind of wrong.
And Jenny's not like that. She's alone. She doesn't have any family that she speaks of, no friends, no boyfriend.
Right.
She's coming from New York by herself to go stay in a cabin by herself. I would never do that.
Oh my God, I know. So already you can tell she might even be a feminist in her own right. Because at one point, Matthew asks her what she's written, I believe. And she mentions that he probably hasn't read any of it because most of her writing is in women's magazines.
And he was like, no, I don't read those.
Yeah. So, and Camille Keaton is, you probably don't know, but silver screen legend, Buster Keaton. She's his great niece, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so.
I don't know who that
you
is.
don't know who Buster Keaton is. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, it cuts to Matthew, Johnny, and the no-names sitting at a restaurant. And Johnny is saying things have been too peaceful. They need news. Good news. News.
Yeah. And Matthew goes into something about his tips getting cut or something.
And Johnny's like, no.
That's not, I'm not talking about your fucking tips. Oh, and by the way, Matthew is weird. Again, he's mentally slow. So, but he's ordering a fucking hot fudge sundae.
A hot fudge sundae.
Yeah, because everybody else is having beers.
He's like, I'll have a sundae, please.
Yeah, he's counting out his change and humming a ditty. Ugh.
He was a happy-go-lucky dude.
There is no sympathy for Matthew at this point in the movie. So, because after what we just watched, because maybe it was too long. I could see why people would have, a problem with the length of the rape scene. But again, I didn't feel like any of it was gratuitous. But what it did do was make you hate these motherfuckers.
Right.
Because like I said, they're normal looking. They're everyday guys. But at this point, you fucking hate them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You have no feelings.
They just left her to die. And they're just going on with their lives. And it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah. So as a woman, At this point, you're pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. See, that's why I think this show kind of works at this point on an episode like this, is because I have a woman's perspective.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a bunch of dudes sitting around talking about this movie.
No, because you don't have an opinion.
Right. So, moving on.
So, they're talking about, has anybody been back to the cabin? And nobody's gone back. And Johnny's like, wait, it's been like 90 degrees here every day. And every day for like 2 weeks. Bodies will start to smell.
Right. He's worried about the body getting discovered. And so he kind of looks at not Matthew and not Johnny 1 and 2. And he's kind of talking to it. We might be a little unclear with the scene because the audio is so fucking awful.
I had to listen to it like 4 times.
Yeah, it's worse than our podcast. It's just
Oh my gosh.
Oh, if you people knew the troubles.
Podcast problems.
But yeah, it's so hard to hear what they're saying during this scene because the audio's so bad. The Foley's fucking amazing. The sound effects.
Oh yeah.
You can hear that perfectly. But the dialogue is almost incomprehensible at this point.
But I do know Johnny tells Matthew that they're going to send him on a mission. But then he says something to the other guys about going on reconnaissance. Thanks.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens is the not Johnny and not Matthew go in the boat and drive by. I keep saying drive.
They're technically driving a boat. They're not sailing it and they're not rowing it. So
okay.
They're
so
driving.
They're driving this boat. And she's laying in a hammock. They see her. She sees them. They make eye contact and they think that they've seen a ghost.
Oh man. I love this movie because like I said, I think it's super important whether people agree with me or not. I think it's one of the movies everybody should see. Not just because of the message it has, but also just scenes like this. Like there's no fucking dialogue during this scene. But the look in her fucking face as she sees them go by, it's not malice. It's not hate. It's not anything over the top. It's almost like, yeah, I fucking see you. I'm still here.
Yeah.
And they kind of have the same look. And it's just, for us as an audience, it's an oh shit moment.
Right.
Like, fuck, they know. Ooh. Because that's the difference between the storytelling in this movie and other movies is everybody knows everybody's moves.
Right.
Like, there's no secret. Because I think, I haven't seen the remake that many times, so I'm going to leave it out of what I'm going to say, but I feel like if this movie was made today, like, it would be told in a way to where they wouldn't know she's still alive.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and she's just picking them off, and they're trying to figure out who's killing them. But something about them knowing exactly who's killing them and who's coming for them makes it a little sweeter. Like, it makes the revenge part of the film that much better.
Right.
So they go back, tell Johnny, and I mean, we don't see them tell Johnny, but because it cuts straight to them beating the shit out of Matthew.
They are pissed. So they're beating him up, and then all of a sudden, he like gets up, he's going away, and Johnny's like, "Don't come back or I'll beat your ass." And I'm like, didn't you just do that?
Yeah,
is that
it's
a thing?
Like, wait,
what happened?
You should say you're going to kill him, not beat his ass. You're already doing this. But so they send Matthew on his way because he didn't kill her, and they all know.
And they're pissed.
Right. And so Matthew rides off.
And it cuts to Jennifer getting in her car with a gun and driving to a church and praying.
And I think at this point of the film, she walks into the church and prays. And I think what she's doing is asking for forgiveness for what she's about to do.
Right. Because she is pissed.
Right. And shit, who could fucking blame her? Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
So then it cuts to, is this where it cuts back to Matthew?
No. This is where she goes to the gas station.
Oh, right.
And she's
this
like
is the reveal. Yeah.
watching Johnny with his kids and his wife. And that's when I realized they're not teenagers.
Yeah.
He's got a kid and wife. Or kids and a wife.
I mean, I don't blame you because in most movies, when it's like older movies like this, usually when they're the age the actors are in this movie, they're being portrayed as teenagers.
Right.
In the film. It was a common thing. But, so, yeah, we see that Johnny has a fucking family. So it normalizes him even more.
Which makes me hate him even
Right,
more.
because this guy could just be the guy's guy that we all fucking know. He works at the fucking gas station, has a wife and kids, talks about tits all the time. Who the fuck does that sound like? Everyone. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of guys like that. So, again, like I said, Miyazaki really did something special here because he didn't make these guys into evil monsters. They're evil monsters, but in the sense that you could know these people.
Right. This
And
could be your
these could be the
next door
monsters.
neighbor, your best friend.
And that's where this movie's more truthful than most. Because it could be the normal dude's dude that could commit something fucking evil like this.
And that's scary.
Yeah. So I have a debate with myself, and I was going to ask you your thoughts. But this scene where she has the gun and she pulls up to the gas station.
No.
And,
That's not this part.
no. Yeah, she pulls up and she's watching him and his family.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. But
I was jumping
she's
ahead.
watching him. I was debating whether did she pull up just to shoot him, and then she had second thoughts and came up with something even better.
I think so.
Because I feel like that was her plan to begin with. But then she saw, he has a family and stuff, and I don't think she had sympathy.
No,
But
not at all.
Yeah,
She has a different perspective on what she wants to do now.
right. I feel like she feels like she needs to punish these people worse than
Right.
what she was planning on. Because I think in reality, in her mind, I think she was just loaded up the gun and was just going to shoot them all.
Oh, I think so too.
But then that's too easy. So,
it is.
especially because this guy's got a wife and fucking kids and he's out here doing this. So she's comes up with a better idea.
And she's pissed. So she goes home and orders groceries. Since Matthew is the grocery delivery boy.
Right. So the lady that works there tells him.
Yeah.
Yeah, she tells him this address ordered, because I forget the address, but this address ordered grocery delivery. And obviously Matthew knows what address that is. So he kind of fucks around thinking about whether he wants to or not. What's he going to do?
He's really scared.
Yeah, he knows that whoever ordered out there has to be her.
Well, because
So-
he knows he didn't kill her.
Right. And, oh man. And there's why he's trying to decide what he's going to do. Did you notice the fucking butcher in the back?
Oh my gosh. They had like some kind of like cow or
And
deer or
again,
something.
the sound effects is
And like
Really
chopping
good.
this up. Like, did you have to show that?
well, okay, I might be wrong, but was that butcher cutting down the middle of something's legs?
Yes.
You think that's foreshadowing to something
it
later?
is.
Ooh.
Oh. You're
Well,
right.
anyway. So Matthew grabs a knife, tucks it into his apron or something, right?
Yes.
And so he decides to go back there because he doesn't talk about it too much until he meets Jennifer up at the cabin. But I think he's thinking if he kills her, then he can get back in good with the fellas.
Oh, yeah. He's like, this is my chance. I can do this.
Right. And again, whether you kind of had sympathy at the beginning movie for Matthew, it's all gone, especially when you see this, because he's planning on not, oh, she's alive. Maybe I should tell someone what we did. No, his first thought is, if I kill her, the fellas will be nice to me. And it's just
I'll have friends again.
I'm like, fuck, dude. God, Jesus Christ, I just hit the mic. So Matthew sets off for the cabin.
He gets there. He's a little hesitant to go inside. And all of a sudden, she pops up behind him.
Oh, yeah, she's kind of in the tall grass. And she's in this long, flowing, like, white dress kind of thing.
Yes.
And, which is kind of creepy at first to see her like that, because she's kind of standing there kind of like a ghost.
Yeah. I didn't even think of it like that. Yeah.
It's kind of creepy looking, like, because at this point she knows what she's gonna do, and like I said, she was already a powerful woman going into this, but now it's like she has, I don't want to say even more power, because that makes it seem like the rape had to make her get there, but it's because it's not that. She's
using it.
It's almost like she knows what to do to get back at them.
Right.
And she uses her sex.
And she's using it for her advantage now.
Right. She knows that her sexualness, shit, is that a word?
Sexuality.
There you go. You're a lot smarter than me. She knows that her sexuality can be a weapon. She can use it.
Right. So she kind of hides, and he starts to follow her into the woods. She's kind of messing with him. She's like, I'm over here. Blah, 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 blah. And they get to the lakeside. She says, I could have given you a summer to remember. Right. And he says, but it's only for the summer.
Yeah, because he's telling her basically, like, you know, that they're not my friends anymore. You're only here for the fucking summer. What am I going to do for the rest of the summer? Which, again, you're like, God, what a piece of shit.
Right.
I don't care if you're mentally retarded. This is fucked up. So she says, oh, but you will kill me. But she kind of, I'm kind of confused on how she gets him to on the ground, but.
Oh, she opens her gown.
Right. She seduces him.
Yes.
Is what happens.
And she takes off her gown and, or she opens her gown, and then she undoes his belt and takes his pants off.
Right.
And, basically, she just says, I could have given you a summer to remember, right. And they start fucking.
Right. He starts fucking her, and as he's having an orgasm, she slips a noose around his neck, and
I don't know if it's because he's slow or the acting is bad, but it takes a minute for him to realize that there's a noose around his neck.
Yeah, you think well, I don't know. I've had an orgasm. Speaking as a guy who's had plenty of orgasms. Tons. No, I'm just joking.
Really?
No, I'm trying to make. I'm playing this up during a rape film. This is fucked up. You could probably punch me in the face and I wouldn't notice until afterwards. So I kind of get it.
Oh, I'll remember that for next time.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Whatever. You don't care.
We're freaky. It's okay. So she slips the noose over his neck, and then as he's coming, she pulls it tight and starts to hang him. And normally, I'd be like, oh, he got off easy. But I don't know. That's pretty nice.
Well, and it wasn't easy because she had to pull him until he was standing up.
Oh, man.
And she had to walk around this tree over and over again to get this rope to where she needed it to be to kill him.
Right. And during this scene, while they were shooting this scene, Miyazaki noticed that the actor who played Matthew was kind of shaking real crazy, and he thought he was just acting really good. Like,
oh, really?
But it turns out the actor who played Matthew was afraid of heights. So when they, because obviously he's probably on a harness, they're not actually hanging him. But,
well, yeah.
but he was afraid of heights, and he started having a panic attack when they pulled him up over the water. Yeah. So they had to stop. But yeah, she hangs him from the tree, and damn.
For a long time.
Oh, yeah.
They show his pants around his ankles.
Right.
And him just hanging there.
Yeah, so it's death number one. And it's nice. I feel good. Yeah.
Then she pushes his bike and the groceries into the water.
Right.
No trace of him.
Nope. Well, because... Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Who's going to fucking look for these motherfuckers?
Right.
But
so what I don't understand is she goes inside and then she calls the grocery store and says that she didn't get her delivery. Why would she do that?
I think so nobody comes to her place looking.
Oh, okay. Covering her ass. Yeah,
because she still needs time to finish this out.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
She doesn't want anybody coming right out there. So she says, he never got here.
Okay.
She calls it a complaint. So nobody's like, hey, Matthew's been gone for a fucking while. The last place he went was here. So
okay, that
so
makes
now
sense.
they're just looking. They'll just look to where he is, not to where he might be at.
Right. So it's like the next day or something like that, and she drives to the gas station.
Right.
And
oh man,
they don't say one word to each other.
Right. It's great because she pulls up and he comes walking out because he hears the bell. Because again, this was 1978, so nobody self pumps.
Oh,
but,
I guess they did talk for a second.
Right. So she pulls up and he comes out and is like, the look on his face, like, oh fuck. But he walks over casually and she starts flirting with him. And he mentioned something about,
we're closed.
Yeah.
We only work half days on Sundays.
Right. Damn. I can't get over the look on his face. But so is this the point where she gets him in the car?
Yeah, they're just staring at each other and
she kind of flirts with him a little. It's a little hard to explain this scene without you seeing it.
Right, because there's not a lot of words.
Right. There's not a lot. I think, and honestly, when this movie is at its best is when there is no dialogue.
Yes.
So she's kind of giving the flirty eyes and stuff like that. And I can't remember.
She was kind of twirling her hair a little bit.
Right. She's, again, using her sexuality as a weapon. And she invites him to go for a ride. Like, making him think she wants more of it.
Right. And he's happy with it.
Right. So he hops in, which, I'm sorry. Not to fit anybody, but if you had just gang raped someone, God, please don't gang rape anyone. But theoretically, if you had, would you get in the car with the victim?
Oh, hell no.
Like immediately I'd be like, she's here to kill me.
I would see her and I'd run
town.
back in that building and lock myself in there.
So he gets in the car. They drive out to like a deserted area.
I think to the cabin.
No, it's like a roadside at first.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so they drive out there, I think.
Yeah, I wrote they drive to nowhere.
Right. Well, then she pulls a gun on him. And
No. He gets out and he's expecting her to get out and she doesn't. And he was like, oh, you want me to open your door for you?
Oh, yeah. He starts being even more of a dick. God,
and then
I hate this guy.
When he opens the door, she pulls the gun.
Right. So he pulls the gun on her.
Nope.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Different movie.
I don't know where I know.
Okay, Matt. She pulls the gun and she tells him to take off his clothes.
Right. She has him strip.
And he's like, I don't take orders from a woman. So she shoots the ground by him. He gets a little scared.
Yeah. That's when he starts stripping. So she's holding him at gunpoint, and that's when he mansplains. Oh. I could see you getting red while he was talking in the scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because
You
he's
get
like,
mad.
you asked for this.
Because honestly, that's why this movie's important, especially in this day and age. It deserves a revisit. Because what Johnny talks about in this scene is exactly what you hear nowadays.
Yes. He says, any man would have done this because when I saw you at the gas station, you were walking around flaunting your legs to me. Then when Matthew was at your house, you were flaunting your tits with no bra. And then when you were laying in the canoe with just your bikini on.
Right. So basically, he tells her, you were asking for this.
Yes.
And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
it gets weird because that would have pissed me off. And if I had a gun in my hand, I would have shot him.
right.
She
But-
doesn't. She decides that she's going to walk close to
Right,
him.
right.
And he knocks the gun out of her hands. She's like rubbing his face or something. And she says, let me give you a hot bath.
Right. Which, hot bath, I was like, what the fuck? So it cuts to the inside of her cabin. She's naked and looking at herself in the mirror. And
She's
he's
fixing
in the-
her hair.
Yeah. He's in the bath. And she climbs in, and they kind of start going back and forth about his wife and kids. And then he kind of tells her, I don't want to talk about my wife and kids because obviously he's fucking around on his wife and being a dick.
Right.
So he tells her that. And how does the conversation go to Matthew?
They're talking about friends.
Right.
And he was like, they're not my friends. They just follow me around, blah, blah, blah. And during this time, she starts rubbing his dick.
Right. And he starts complimenting her hands.
Yes. And
I'm
he's,
assuming she's jerking him off.
yeah. And so they started talking about Matthew. And she's like, I killed him. And he's like, whatever. No, you didn't.
Well, yeah, because he thinks she's just fucking around. Like,
And-
he's like, you got a weird fucking sense of humor.
Right. And she's rubbing his dick and he's got his eyes closed. So she reaches over the bathtub and grabs a knife that she has
Right.
hidden under a towel. And this is the knife that Matthew brought to kill her with.
Oh, shit.
You didn't
I
catch
didn't
that.
catch that. Oh, good job.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I did not catch that. So it's the same knife. That's
Yes.
fucked up.
And it's a big, long knife.
Yeah, it's...
A butcher knife,
I don't
but
want to call it a
not-
butcher knife. It kind of looks like a fillet knife.
Okay, there you go. A fillet
Because
knife.
it's skinny, like a fillet knife.
And long.
But... So...
I'm sorry, I had to yawn.
That's okay. Yawn break. Yawn break.
Yes.
So she then takes the knife and goes into the bubble bath. And he's sitting there. I think it's funny that he doesn't notice she's cutting through, but I'm assuming he's having an orgasm.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Because he's like, it almost hurts. It's so good or something like that. Because
Yeah.
he's not acting very well, but I'll forgive it. It's 1978. So then she just gets up.
And there's blood everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Blood starts spurting. And I love that scene where he's like, what the he looks down and blood just shoots up a little bit.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
And
Sorry to cut you off, but
you're fine.
this is my favorite fucking scene in this entire movie. she gets up out of the bathtub. He starts bleeding and he starts fucking screaming, obviously, from what she did. And she gets up, exits the room, and locks it from the outside. And
Stay in there.
right. And he's fucking, you can hear him screaming the entire time. And this actor is doing a pretty fucking good job as somebody who just got their dick cut off would act. Cause he's like, I can't fucking stop the bleeding. Oh man, he's freaking out. But she calmly walks over to her record player and puts on like classical music and just sits in this chair and just listens to the music and listens to him fucking scream.
Until he doesn't scream anymore.
And it's like, I don't want to make this weird and sexual, but it's like she has a release during this moment. Like, it's satisfying.
Right. She's
Like,
relieved, I think.
Yeah. Because then all of a sudden he stops.
Yeah.
And shit. And I think, is this where it cuts back to the gas station?
No.
No.
So she burns his clothes.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, oh my God, does she burn his body?
Yeah, that's what I thought too, actually.
But then it cuts to him on the stairs of the basement. And it's just
Right.
a real quick clip of him in the basement.
Oh, man. And I know the blood is that 1978 kind of like really paint red blood. It's like candy apple.
Yeah.
But for some reason in this movie,
It makes sense.
yeah, for some reason, like that color is so striking. And then you see his pale ass fucking body where he's bled to death.
Yeah.
Just kind of crumpled up on the fucking stairs. And there's just that bright red paint all around him. It's a really good shot.
And then it cuts to her cleaning the bathroom and cleaning up all that blood in the
right.
bathroom.
So you definitely know she didn't burn the body, but she burns his clothes. Why does she burn his clothes?
Evidence.
You think so?
Well, I mean, he's in the basement, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. There's probably a reason for that. I don't know. But anyway.
So this is where it cuts to the gas station.
Right.
Where the wife is. And
Right.
she is pissed.
Yeah, because she said he wouldn't run off on her like that.
He's a good husband and a good father.
Shit. All right, lady. Fuck.
And then No Name 1 and 2 are standing there. And
shit.
she just starts yelling at them and calls them fucking bums, makes them run off
Yeah,
because she's so mad.
I think she's kind of wanting them to go find him. Find Johnny.
I didn't
Yeah.
think about that.
She wants them to go find him for her. So they run off and they load up an axe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, none of them own a gun? Like, you would think upstate New York, somebody's got to have a gun, right? I don't know. But they load up an axe and stuff because they know where he's probably at. They know what's going on
Yeah.
because they know she's alive. So they head up to the cabin. And
they take the boat. Why did these two guys take the boat everywhere?
maybe they know that river or lake or whatever they're on. Maybe they know it better than, maybe it's just faster for them to get there on boat, I suppose.
Yeah.
But in any order, they drive the boat and
she's in the hammock.
right.
And I wanted to make a point about this camera shoot into the sky, this camera angle. You don't see her, but you see her point of view into the sky, and the camera's just moving. I got a little motion sickness from that.
Well, again, this movie's like severely low budget. And
okay.
in fact, like, rumor is like, because I don't know, I couldn't find anybody to corroborate this on fuck, I can't talk. I cannot talk. Anyway, I couldn't find anything to verify this, but from what I read, the zoom shots in the movie are achieved by putting a camera on a shopping cart.
Oh.
And so they zoom with that. But I'm like, were the cameras that low budget back then? I don't know. But, but yeah, that's an odd shot.
Yeah, it was
So-
strange. So they're in the lake, and then all of a sudden she just pops up from the water.
Right. Because where does one of the guys gets out at some point? Does he pull up next to the shore and let one of the guys out? To go
I
up to the
guess, but
cabin?
they don't show any of that.
Right. Maybe we miss. I don't know.
No, they don't show it. She just pops up from the water.
Oh yeah, like all Jason Voorhees on his ass.
Yes.
Speak about Jason Voorhees. This movie was shot in Kent, Connecticut, and the location where this is being shot at was used again about 3 years later for Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh, really?
Right, they filmed in the same area. So
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was kind of neat. But yeah, she pops up out of the water, gets in the boat, and
She pushes the guy in the boat.
yeah, she pushes
Or
him
in the
out.
water.
And this is the guy, keep in mind, this is the guy that told her to suck it earlier in the film.
Yes. And she just starts driving around him. And I just kept thinking she's going to run him over with the boat. I keep thinking that, and she doesn't.
Right. So she kind of circles around him. I think
lot.
she's just trying to fucking freak him the fuck out.
I think so.
So she's circling around, and at some point, does she kind of hit him a little?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. He's getting tired.
Yeah, he's getting tired.
Because I think her goal, now that I'm thinking of it, I think her goal is to wear him out.
Oh, okay.
So, because he's sitting there treading water, trying to keep up, and as she's going around him real close with the boat, it's pushing waves into him. It's just wearing him the fuck out.
Yeah.
So, because she sees his friend on the shore, and he comes out with that axe, and she goes over there, and he chunks the axe at her like a fucking
like he's going to
dumbass.
kill
I don't
her or
know.
something.
So he chunks the axe. And again, earlier in the film, you see these two guys throwing knives into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And they're playing that game and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was foreshadowing to this, like some half-assed
Oh,
foreshadowing.
maybe. Yeah.
But anyway, she grabs the axe. And as the dude's swimming out there to help the other guy who's getting tired at this point, which is another awesome shot of her in the boat coming at them with this axe in the fucking air. And I'm like, that should have been on the fucking poster. But anyway, so she comes over and just slams that axe into one of the dudes because he just kind of fucking leaves his friend as she's coming at him with the boat.
So, can we talk about, though, when she axes his back, how it looks like a fucking couch cushion? It sinks in like a fucking couch cushion.
It does look like a fucking couch cushion full of strawberry jam.
I was like, what the
Oh, man.
Oh, and then it cuts to him in the water and he's sinking and bleeding.
Right.
And I was like, oh,
She got him in
the back.
Yes, I remember you said that. You were like, what the fuck?
What the hell is this?
But, so.
Low budget horror movies.
She axes him and he's dead.
Oh, yeah.
But the other friend's still kind of treading water. She pulls up to him and she stops the engine. And he kind of climbs up
on the
onto
propeller.
Yeah, he kind of climbs up onto it and holds on because he's fucking worn the fuck out. And I think at this point, just like earlier when he was standing over her and she was begging for mercy, he begs.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know why that is so satisfying.
He was like, it was all Johnny's idea.
Yeah,
we did this because
Sorry.
of Johnny.
Yeah, begging for fucking, shit. And she just looks at him, grabs the choke cord, and just goes, suck it, bitch. Just fucking pulls that fucking engine. And I'm assuming it disembowels him, right? Or
Yeah,
cuts his
'cause you
dick
don't
off,
see
maybe?
anything
I don't know.
but
You don't see
blood.
anything, but you just imagine whatever the fuck happened. There's a lot of blood, and the engine's cutting him up.
Yeah.
And so he's fucking dead.
And he starts to sing.
Yeah, he starts to sing. And at this point, she's just riding the boat off, and we cut to her face, and she's got this little smile.
Smirk.
Yeah. And she rides off into the sunset.
Yep.
And then the credits roll.
The shortest credits ever.
Yeah. And you can tell how low budget this is with the short credits. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this of me, but I do like to sit through the credits of the films because
I know.
I don't know, give them some respect. You know, the people who worked on this movie. But apparently this movie only had like 20 people working on it. Because, and goddamn, whoever worked on the sound.
Sucked.
Jesus. I hope they didn't go on to do anything else. But
Just like us.
just like our
I'm
sound.
just kidding.
Shit. No, it's okay. Our sound sucks. But, so, short ass credits, and then we're done. What I like about this movie, especially the end credits, is that there is no songs.
Oh, yeah. It's very serious.
Yeah. Zarkai, he wanted some music in the movie because, I mean, you want music in your movie most of the time, but he couldn't find any songs or anything suitable.
Right.
He felt like it would take it away, so he just left it without
And I
music.
liked it like that.
And that's what I mean by it gives it a certain sense of seriousness about it that other movies of this nature just don't have. And like I said, this movie deserves to be revisited. It deserves more respect than it gets.
Yes.
It deserves the praise Joe Bob gave it in his review.
Yeah.
Because, and I've got to get a hold of this fucking DVD, but he did a commentary for the whole movie.
Oh, that
So
would be
you could,
awesome.
yeah, I think it's like $17. I was thinking about ordering it, but he does a whole fucking commentary on this movie as you're watching it. So it'd be great to listen to his thoughts, more of his thoughts on it. But yeah, this movie deserves more respect than it gets. You seeing this for the first time, and I don't even. Did you hear much about this movie before I mentioned
No,
it?
I asked my friends if they've ever seen it. Nobody ever has.
Right.
Or heard of it.
And my sister, who she loves horror movies. In fact, she's the one that got me into horror. My parents too. All my family loved horror movies, but she refuses to watch this movie.
I can understand.
She finds it offensive.
I can understand.
It's on my
that.
dad's I don't want to watch that movie list. My dad has a list in his brain of movies he just will not watch. And I understand why people are turned off by this movie, but I think they're looking at it in the wrong way. Like, it's easy to see the poster, hear the title, know what it's about, hear it has the longest rape scene in film history.
Yes.
And just judge it by that. And just assume it's going to be a schlocky mess that glorifies rape.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't.
It does not glorify the rape. Oh. It's hard. This movie, I feel, has been the hardest to sit here and talk about because it's hard to explain because this movie is better seen and not heard.
Yes.
Because, again, the sound design's awful.
I probably could have lived with watching it on mute.
Right. Right, because, oh, God, could you imagine no audio and just seeing, ooh. But it's true. It's just so brutal.
Yes.
And it's so serious. And it doesn't really let up that that's what's terrifying. And I think I Spit on Your Grave should have more respect. Should be seen more. This movie should be on people's lists of must-see movies. Whether, again, I think it's just been mislabeled. And part of the reason was fucking Ebert back in the day.
Yeah.
God. Even, I can't remember her name, but there was a famous feminist who had one time picketed this movie because this movie had picket lines out the ass when it came out in theaters. But she had picketed it. And then years later, she recanted her opinion and said, it's a feminist movie. It's probably the most feminist movie ever made by a male director. Oh. And the reason why I didn't throw this on our list first and we did Teeth last time was because I feel like Teeth had a bad male director.
Yes.
It did good. It was a good movie, sort of, you know, whether you like it or not. It was too safe.
Yes.
And so, like, it was just more funny than it was scary. There really wasn't much horror elements in that. But this movie, for a male director to be in the helm, it's impactful, man.
Oh, yeah.
I just, like I said, I feel like half the time I'm the only one defending this fucking movie. And because even people have said, go watch the new one. It's, the rape scenes are less, because I think the rape scene in that movie's only about 9 minutes. Still pretty long, but not 24 minutes.
Right.
And I think, because most people disagree with me there, I think I'd rather have it longer like that. Because if this movie just had a quick rape, would it, I don't think it'd put you in the mood for what's about to happen.
Well, the whole movie was about rape.
Right. I mean, this movie needed it.
Yes.
And so, because, like, Zarkai witnessing the girl get raped back in the day, and that's what influenced him, I think his goal was to make you feel horrified. Because even in his story, he talks about how he took her to the police, and the cop, who he said was unfit to wear a badge, kind of just wanted her to answer questions before he even helped her. And she's sitting, she can't answer questions because her jaw was broke.
Oh, wow.
So this cop's just treating her like secondhand garbage. And honestly, I feel like that still fucking goes on.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have all this victim shaming, and it's just fucked up.
Especially with sex workers.
So I think it's important. And I'm not saying this movie makes you feel the same way as getting raped would. I'm not fucking saying that.
Oh, no, not at all.
I'm just saying, if this fucking disturbs you and this makes you put off and you don't want to watch this film because of it, then you don't get to not be disturbed about actual rape cases. People put real rape stories, they shun it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to solve these things. I mean, shit, we have police departments with rape kits sitting around and nobody's fucking testing them because
they don't care.
Because, oh, well, maybe it was the victim's fault. I don't know. Maybe she was asking for it.
It's because maybe she was a sex worker. Maybe she was a drug addict. A single mom asking for it because of the clothes she's wearing.
Right.
The flirty nature of her personality. There's so many things. I can't.
So what'd you think?
I liked
Overall,
it a lot.
this
I liked
movie?
it a lot.
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite so far.
Right. And like I said, I think it really does suffer from the title and the poster. I don't think the poster or the title helps.
No.
Wow, we got super fucking serious there at the end, didn't we? We're getting deep. So a little lighter note, the poster, you've seen the poster with
Yes.
the shot of the girl in the back, who's obviously not Camille Keaton.
No.
So rumor has it that the girl on that poster was an 18-year-old Demi Moore.
Dun, dun, dun.
Demi Moore. And I think a producer said that's true, but Demi Moore has yet to say it. And I think an interview with Camille Keaton, she even said she doesn't know who it is and stuff. But so it's a big old rumor, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But damn, that's 1978's I Spit on Your Grave. And I'm going to say go fucking see it.
See it?
See this movie however you can. It's good. It deserves a revisit, and thumbs up. Fuck Ebert.
Yep. Go with Joe Bob.
So, next time on Night of the Horror File, we are going to watch a sequel that I think needs some dues. That's right. We're watching Prom Night 2. Yep.
I didn't even
Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. You haven't seen the first one, and that's okay. It's a Jamie Lee Curtis vehicle. The first one was. We'll watch the first one later on.
But I love Jamie Lee.
I know, I have a whole Jamie Lee month coming.
Yes.
So Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2 is coming up. It has Michael Ironsides in it, and the sequel is better than the original.
Okay.
And so that's why we're doing that, because it has a woman slasher in it, who
Yay.
I think should be up there with fucking Freddy and Jason, but she's not, because we live in this world.
Because she has a vagina.
So before I get all deep again and go off the deep end, cussing, ranting, I'm gonna wish everybody a good night. Stay horrible.
Stay spooky.
Goodbye. And that's another episode. I hope everybody enjoyed listening and you didn't walk away too scarred. Remember, you can hit us up on the interwebs at nightofthehorrorfile.com and on Twitter at InHorrorFile. And you can also find us on Facebook. Stay spooky.